She tried to kill me with a casserole. That's the sentence I told the cops when they showed up. And no, I'm not joking. My daughter-in-law smiled as she handed me a hot dish of cheesy potatoes. My favorite. She knows it's my favorite. I almost dug in without thinking until my old lab Duke started growling. Wouldn't go near it. That dog's eaten socks, drywall, even a dead possum once. But this, he sniffed it and backed away like it was poison. Because it was. I didn't say a word. I just slid the plate to the side, smiled back at her, and waited. The next day, I bought a hidden camera, and what it recorded made my hand shake. She thought I was too old to notice, too dumb to fight back. Just an old man with a paid-off house and a heart condition. She was half right. At our next family dinner, I made her plate myself. Same dish, same smile. And when I saw her face as she took that first bite, "Something wrong, sweetheart?" I asked. She didn't answer, just stared at me, mouth open, fork frozen midair. Yeah, I saw it all. Retirement was supposed to be quiet. I worked 42 years in HVAC, fixed more busted furnaces and leaky ACS than I care to count. Put in overtime, weekends, holidays. I missed my son's 8th grade graduation because a lady's pilot light wouldn't stay lit. She hugged me in tears when the heat came on. That's the kind of life I had. The kind where people needed things, and I showed up. When I finally retired, I thought I'd earned some peace. Time to work on the old Chevy in the garage. Take Duke for walks. Sit on the porch and not do a damn thing unless I felt like it. The house was paid off. Bills were steady. My cholesterol. Not great, but hey, I made it to 68 without losing a limb or my mind, so I figured I was doing all right. Then my son moved back in. "Just for a few months, Dad," he said, hauling in boxes like it was a dorm room. "We're trying to save for a down payment." They had a townhouse before, 2 bedrooms, nothing fancy but enough for them and their baby. Then prices shot up and suddenly they were drowning in rent. I didn't mind at first. I wanted to help. But she came with him. Emily, my daughter-in-law, polite on the outside, sharp underneath. She always smiled just a little too long, called me sir, like I was 100 years old and deaf. I'd catch her watching me sometimes, like I was a cracked sidewalk she was waiting to trip over. It started with the thermostat. "Do you have to keep it this cold?" she said one morning, arms crossed tight. "It's 70 degrees, I replied. "My baby's hands are freezing." "Then put socks on him." She didn't laugh. Neither did I. Then it was the bathroom. "I had to clean mold off the tiles today," she said, scrubbing her hands at the kitchen sink like I'd cursed her. Mold. I blinked. "I cleaned that last week." Not well, and just like that, I was a bad host in my own house. But the moment that got me, the one that stuck, was over meatloaf. I made dinner for everyone, took my time, even added bacon on top because Emily mentioned once she liked it that way. She took one bite and set her fork down. "Is this turkey?" "Yeah," I said, "ground turkey." "Healthier." She looked me in the eye and said, "It tastes like dog food." The table went quiet. Even my son just looked at his plate. I didn't say anything, just chewed, swallowed, and made a mental note. I wasn't Dad anymore. I was the old man in the guest room of his own home. The little things piled up. My recliner, moved to make room for the baby's bouncer, my tools, locked away for safety. Even Duke started sleeping out back since Emily didn't like dog hair everywhere. She said it like he was a raccoon I let inside. Then I noticed the groceries. She'd cooked 2 dinners, one for them, One for me. I asked why once. Yours is low sodium, she said. It's better for your heart. But I didn't, she cut me off. Trust me. I worked in a clinic, I know, never asked, just decided. And every week she took over more. Bills, paid online, she said, mail, sorted by her, medication. I'll keep it organized so you don't forget. I felt myself shrinking in my own house, a guest, an afterthought. But I didn't say anything, not yet. Then came the casserole. It was a Sunday. She handed it to me hot, with a paper towel under the dish like I was 5. Eat while it's fresh, she said, smiling, always smiling. I scooped some out, put it down for Duke first, like I always do. He sniffed it, stepped back, tail low, ears flat. Wouldn't touch it. I bent down. What's wrong, boy? He licked my hand, but wouldn't go near the bowl. That's when I noticed the smell. Not rotten, just off like soap. I stared at the dish. My stomach turned. Something wrong? She asked from the hallway. I looked up. No, I said, just not hungry. She said, then turned and walked away. That night, I stayed up thinking. The next morning, I drove to Walmart, bought one of those fake smoke detectors with a camera inside, installed it above the kitchen sink, right where it caught the whole counter. 2 days later, she made chili, said it was heart smart again. I didn't eat it, just smiled and said I'd heat it up later. Then I checked the footage, watched her open the spice cabinet, watched her pull out a bottle I didn't recognize, watched her sprinkle it in only one bowl. Mine. My hands were shaking. I paused the video, rewound, watched again. She only seasoned my bowl, and it wasn't pepper. I looked up that bottle, found it online. Foxglove root powder, not for internal use. People use it for gardening. Ingest enough and your heart stops. I didn't call the cops, not yet. Instead, I saved the footage, labeled it vacation photos, and sent a copy to myself. Then I waited, because revenge. Revenge takes timing, and I had plenty of that. A few days after the chili incident, my son walked into the garage while I was oiling the mower. "Hey, Dad," he said, "can we talk?" I wiped my hands and nodded. "Sure." He didn't look me in the eye, just shifted from foot to foot. "Emily's uncomfortable. She thinks maybe you don't trust her." I looked at him, waited. "She said you haven't been eating what she cooks," he added, "that you're being distant." "She's poisoning my food," I said calmly. He blinked. "What?" "Never mind." I waved it off. "Forget I said anything." "Dad, come on." "Forget it," I said, sharper this time. "Just tell her I've been busy." He stared at me like I was speaking a different language. Then he turned and walked off. Didn't even ask if I was okay. That Friday, I found my recliner sitting out on the curb. Just sitting there, right next to the garbage can like it was a piece of junk. I stood on the porch, stunned. "Emily said it was too old," my son said, coming around the side. "She found a newer one on Marketplace." "That was my chair." "You've had that thing since I was 10. "Exactly." He shrugged and went inside. The next week, Emily started locking Duke outside during the day. Said he barked too much. Said he scared the baby. I found him in the rain one afternoon, soaked, shivering, curled under the broken patio table. I let him in, dried him off with a towel. He licked my wrist and wouldn't leave my side for hours. I don't cry much, not even when my wife passed. But that night, I sat on the edge of my bed and let it hit me. Not because of the chair, not even because of Duke, because I realized they didn't see me anymore. Not as a man, not as a father, not as anything. I was just an obstacle between them and my house. The next morning, I heard Emily on the phone in the kitchen. She didn't see me. I was just around the corner. "He keeps wandering around at night," she whispered. "I'm worried. What if he leaves the stove on?" A pause. "Yeah, I'm documenting everything, just in case. The lawyer said it'll help." She laughed. "Honestly, if we wait another year, nature might just handle it." I stepped back into the hallway. My heart was thudding like a drum. She wanted me gone, not just out of the house, gone. And she was planning it, laying the groundwork to make me look senile, crazy, dangerous. That night, I left all the lights on, just to annoy her. The next morning, she gave me a long, tight-lipped smile. "Do you remember leaving the front door open?" she asked sweetly. "Little man could have crawled right out." I stared at her. "Didn't happen?" She tilted her head. "You sure?" The games kept going. She switched my meds. I caught it when the pills looked different. She started putting Post-it notes on things. Fridge, oven, door, like I didn't know what anything was. And then she took my truck keys. "Just until we're sure it's safe," my son mumbled when I confronted him. "I've never had an accident in 40 years, I snapped. "Never even a fender bender." "It's not personal, Dad." "The hell it isn't." I started going for walks around the block, down by the gas station. I needed air, space. One afternoon I passed by the library and saw the same truck that had been parked across from my house for 3 days in a row. Same dented bumper, same fuzzy dice. I walked past, pretending not to look. Noticed a guy inside, pretending to read a magazine. Next day, same thing, same guy. She'd hired someone to follow me, watch me, make a case. I didn't confront her. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. Instead, I started making a new kind of plan. Revenge is a long game, and I've played long games before. The turning point came at Thanksgiving. Whole family was there. Emily's folks, too. She took charge of the kitchen like she owned the place, shoved me out, told me to go rest. I sat on the edge of the couch and watched her work, smiling, laughing, playing perfect hostess in my wife's old apron. She served everyone, big plates, turkey, stuffing, green bean casserole. She made a separate plate for me, said it was heart-healthy, low salt, special. She watched me take the first bite. I didn't. I said I needed a drink first, went to the sink, dumped it. Quietly, nobody noticed, but she did. She watched me dump it and froze. Her smile twitched. That's when I knew. She knew I knew, and she knew I wasn't going to let it go. 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, I found my name scratched off the mailbox. Just gone. Peeled away with some cheap vinyl letters stuck on top. The Millers. That's Emily's last name. My son took hers after they got married. I stared at it for a long time. Didn't say anything. Didn't even tell them I saw. But I think Emily was watching from the upstairs window because I saw the curtain move. Later that night, I heard them talking in the hallway. I was in my room, door cracked. "He doesn't do anything," Emily hissed. "He just sits here, breathing like a ticking time bomb." "He's my dad," my son muttered. "No, he's a lawsuit waiting to happen." What if he falls? What if he forgets the stove again? "He didn't forget the stove." She laughed. "Oh, you think that. They think I can't hear, like old age comes with volume control. But I hear everything. I heard her say the phrase assisted living, like it was some magical solution. Just ship me off to a room with a bed and a plastic chair. Somewhere I can't make noise or get in the way. Somewhere they don't have to see me die. I sat up all night after that, didn't sleep, just stared at the ceiling and listened to Duke snoring on the floor beside me. I made a promise to myself right then. I wasn't going to be pushed out. If they wanted a fight, they were going to get one. The next day I called the bank, asked about the house deed. Turns out I never changed it after my wife died. Still in both our names, still mine. I asked the clerk, what would it take to transfer it? Simple paperwork, she said. Want to add someone? No, I said. I want to make sure nobody else can touch it. I drove straight there, signed everything, made it so that if anything happened to me, the house goes to my niece, Carrie. Good kid, raised by her mom alone. She calls me every birthday without fail. Not my son, not Emily. That weekend, they had an open house. Didn't even ask me. Emily just put it on Facebook. Charmin 3BR home, walkable neighborhood, updated HVAC. Message for details. People walk through my living room like it was a furniture showroom. A couple sat on my couch. One guy opened my bedroom door. I told him, "Get out." He said, "Sorry, I thought this was—" "It's my room," I snapped. Emily rushed over. "Sorry, he's just staying with us, temporarily." I looked her dead in the eyes. "No, sweetheart, you are." The worst part? My son said nothing, not a word, just stood there in the kitchen with a cup of coffee like he wasn't watching them sell my life out from under me. That night, I sat on the porch with Duke and thought about everything I'd done for him, working extra jobs to get him braces, selling my motorcycle to help him with college, pulling strings to get him his first job. And now, he couldn't even look at me. The next morning, I checked the footage again. I'd upgraded the camera, got a better one, motion activated, caught her going through my drawers. Twice. She took pictures of my medication bottles, my driver's license. She even opened the drawer where I keep my discharge papers from the Army. Why? I don't know. Maybe to forge something, maybe just to poke around, look for things to twist. Later that night, the baby was crying. Emily came storming out of the nursery. "Can't you do something?" She snapped at me. "Like what?" I said calmly. "You're up all night anyway, just wandering around. Maybe help out for once." I laughed, just once, quiet and dry. I raised my kid. Now I'm raising his mistakes. She slapped me. Open palm, right across the cheek. I didn't move, didn't yell, just stood there and looked her in the eye and whispered, "You're going to regret that." The next day, the food stopped. She didn't bring me a single plate. No breakfast, no dinner, nothing. She told my son I wasn't hungry, that I said I'd eat later. But I watched her dump a full plate into the trash behind the garage, covered it with coffee grounds like she was hiding a body. They were trying to starve me out, make me frail, make it look like I couldn't take care of myself. But I'm not frail, and I'm not stupid. So I started cooking for myself. Eggs, toast, simple stuff. I ate at odd hours, kept to myself, didn't complain, didn't make a sound, just waited for the perfect moment. Then one morning, my son came to me, hands in his pockets, awkward. Emily's folks invited us to Christmas at their cabin. "Nice," I said. "Yeah, but it's kind of tight, space-wise." I looked at him. "You're not inviting me." He rubbed the back of his neck. "It's just, last year you didn't really engage." "I didn't engage," I said, my voice flat. "You stuck me at the kids' table." "It's only for a few days," he said. "You'll be fine here. No tree, no lights, no family, no dinner. Just me and Duke." He patted my shoulder. "I'll bring you back something," he said, then walked off like it was nothing, like it didn't gut me, like I wasn't the reason he had a roof over his head. I stood in the doorway and watched them pack the car. Emily didn't even say goodbye. She just glanced at me once, smirked, and got in. The baby waved from the car seat. Then they were gone. And I stood there alone, holding a crumpled grocery receipt in my hand. Christmas morning came quiet and cold. No tree, no lights. Just a stale draft coming through the vent in the hallway, and Duke pacing the floor like he was looking for someone who'd already given up. I made oatmeal, sat at the table alone, no music, no voices, just the hum of the fridge and a couple of crows out back fighting over the trash. I walked past the living room. They'd taken the baby's stocking, the one my wife had made years ago, sewn by hand, little red boots and felt candy canes. It was gone. They didn't just leave for Christmas. They took the damn memories with them. Around noon, I got a text. "Hope you're warm. We'll call later." No name, no photo, just one of those chipper, fake happy texts that feel more like a shove than a hug. I didn't reply. What was I going to say? Thanks for abandoning me. Around 4, I took Duke for a walk, tried to shake the heaviness out of my chest. When I came back, the front door was open, not cracked, not swinging, wide open like a gaping mouth. I stepped inside. Quiet. House was still, but my room was wrecked. Drawers dumped out, papers everywhere, my lockbox pried open with a screwdriver, the flag from my father's military funeral torn, my wife's letters gone, just gone. I stared at the mess. My hands were shaking. Duke whined behind me, tail low, and that's when I saw it. On the floor by the nightstand, a folder, half open. Inside it, a copy of my will. The one I'd just updated. The one I'd sealed in that box with Carrie's name on it. There was a sticky note attached in handwriting that wasn't mine. Nice try. That night, I sat in my chair, not the recliner, because they threw that out, and didn't move for hours. Just stared at the TV. Didn't turn it on. I kept replaying every moment from the last 6 months, every jab, every insult, every fake smile, and all I could think was, they want me dead. Not just out, not just somewhere else. Dead. Gone. Ashes in a box they could put on the shelf next to the Wi-Fi router and forget about. At midnight, I poured a glass of whiskey. Only one. Held it in my hand and stared at the ice melt. Then I stood up, walked to the kitchen, opened the cabinet under the sink, pulled out the camera's memory card, the one I'd swapped out a week ago and replaced with a new one, slid it into my laptop, watched the footage, and saw it. Clear as day. Emily, in the kitchen, alone, opening the same bottle of foxglove, scooping it into the food, smiling, whistling. I watched the full recording twice, then I copied it 3 times. One went in a fireproof envelope. One went to a USB drive I stashed in the garage inside a hollowed-out wrench. The third, I emailed to myself and Carrie with no subject line, just in case. Just in case she got bolder. Just in case I didn't wake up one morning. Just in case my son finally forgot to check on me. They came back the next day, brought leftovers, acted like everything was normal. "Hope you didn't get too lonely," Emily said. I looked at her, said nothing. She handed me a plate, stuffing, mashed potatoes, same cheesy casserole from before. She waited. I stared at the food. Duke sniffed it, then growled. Low and long. Emily froze. "Is something wrong?" I smiled, didn't blink, just said, "Not hungry," and walked away. That night, I took the exact same dish, same container, same food, Put it in the fridge with a label that said, "Dad's dinner. Do not touch." I knew she'd look. I knew she'd check. And when the time was right, she'd get her own serving. But I wasn't done. I started cleaning, organizing, preparing, not like someone who's losing it, like someone who's about to get everything back. I set the house to 62 degrees, the way I like it. I unlocked Duke's door and let him sleep wherever he wanted. I replaced their stupid vinyl mailbox letters with my old ones, the ones with my name on them, in bold. And I sharpened every knife in the kitchen, not for them, for me, to remind myself that I'm still here, still steady, still sharp. A few nights later, Emily walked in while I was watching a war documentary. She stood behind me, silent. I could feel her staring. "Everything okay?" I asked, not turning around. Pause. "I saw you left a dish in the fridge," she said slowly. "Yep," I replied. "You didn't eat it." "Nope." Another pause. "You should eat," she said, a little too softly. I turned then, met her eyes. "Ladies first." She blinked, once, then turned and walked out of the room. No reply, no smile, just her heels clicking down the hallway like a metronome counting down the end. That night, I wrote something in permanent marker on the fridge door. Big letters, simple. "I know." And beneath it, I drew a little paw print, just one, like Duke had signed it too. Revenge doesn't happen in a flash. It simmers, slow, like good stew or bad memories. And I had both. The night after I wrote "I know" on the fridge, something shifted in the house. Emily stopped smiling, stopped humming, stopped pretending. She watched me now, all the time, followed my movements with those cold little hawk eyes like she was waiting for me to slip, break, collapse. But I didn't. Instead, I started making moves. First thing I did. Started cooking again, publicly. Loud pans, garlic smells, scrambled eggs at midnight. I wanted her to see me eating, but never her food, only mine. She'd pause in the hallway, fake a yawn, then walk away. Every time I'd smile a little more. Next move. I bought a new phone. Didn't tell them. Cheap prepaid. Paid in cash. Set it up under a fake name, Harold M. I made 3 calls, one to a lawyer in town, one to Carrie, and one to the sheriff's office. That last one was just a question. Hypothetically, I said, what would someone need to prove attempted poisoning? Video, the deputy said, ideally with a timestamp, and something that confirms what was in it. I thanked him, hung up, and stared at the casserole dish in the fridge, still untouched, still labeled, still waiting. Then I started organizing a dinner, not just any dinner, a family dinner, formal invite. Texted it to Emily and my son. Dinner this Sunday, I'll cook. Just the 4 of us. Bring the baby. Emily didn't reply. My son wrote, Sounds good, Dad. It would be. Over the next few days, I cleaned the house top to bottom. Not because I cared about the mess, because I wanted everything spotless, controlled, predictable. I set the table, polished the silverware, laid out cloth napkins my wife used to bring out only at Easter, lit the candles, even printed little place cards. One said Dad, one said Emily, right across from me. That Saturday, I cooked her casserole. Same ingredients, same pan, same exact style. Just one change, no poison. I made 2 batches, identical in look, one for them, one for me and Duke. I boxed hers up, labeled it just like she used to, Heart Healthy for Dad. I left it in the fridge, visible, tempting, and I watched from the hallway as Emily opened it the next morning. She stared at it for a long time, then closed the fridge, didn't take it out, didn't touch it. Smart girl. But Sunday came, and they showed up at 6 o'clock sharp. Emily brought a cheap bottle of wine and that same tight-lipped smile. My son said, "Something smells good." I smiled. "Family recipe." We sat, 4 plates, 4 forks, candlelight flickering. Emily glanced at her place card, rolled her eyes. But she didn't speak. Not yet. I served her plate myself, scooped the casserole with care, even garnished it with parsley like some cooking show wannabe, placed it in front of her with both hands. "There you go," I said. "Eat up." She froze, just for a second, then smiled. "Thanks." My son dug in, shoved 2 bites in like he hadn't eaten all day. Emily just moved hers around. I took a bite of mine. "So," I said, "I've been thinking about changing the will." Silence. My son stopped chewing. Emily looked up. "Really?" she asked. Calm. Too calm. "Yeah," I said. "Thought I'd leave the house to Carrie. She's been calling every week, checks in, asks if I'm doing all right." I looked at my son. "Funny, she doesn't even live here." He swallowed. "Dad," Emily cut in, "seems sudden." "Does it?" I asked. She nodded slowly. "You've seemed confused lately." "Confused?" I tilted my head. "About what?" "Well, you left the stove on twice this month." I leaned forward. "Did I? Or did someone say I did?" The air went dead still. Even the baby was quiet. Emily reached for her fork, scooped a small bite, brought it to her mouth, and froze, stared at me, mouth open, hand trembling just slightly. I stared back, didn't blink, didn't move, then said, "Looks like you've lost your appetite." My son looked from her to me. "What's going on?" Neither of us answered. Not right away. Emily pushed the plate away. "I'm not hungry," she said. "Shame," I replied. "Takes a while to make." "What did you put in it?" she asked suddenly. Tone changed, not casual anymore, accusatory, nervous. I leaned back in my chair. "Nothing you haven't used." She paled. My son looked at her. "What's he talking about?" "Nothing," she snapped. "He's just losing it." I stood, walked to the kitchen, pulled a tiny bottle from the drawer, set it on the table in front of her. "Recognize this?" She stared. Didn't touch it. I looked at my son. "I found this in your pantry. Mixed into my food." He blinked. "Wait, what?" "I have it on video," I said. "Every step." Emily's eyes darted, her hand twitched, and that's when I said it. "I've already sent copies to Carrie and the police." Silence. A full minute of it. The baby started fussing. My son looked at his wife. Emily stood up, shaky. "I'm going to take the baby," she muttered. "No," he said quietly. "You're going to sit." That was new. That was the first real sentence he'd spoken to her in months. She froze, didn't sit, didn't move, just stood there, trapped, between the table and the truth, between what she wanted and what she got. And me? I smiled, because the trap was set, and the door was almost shut. She didn't eat a single bite. Emily just stood there, frozen, one hand on the back of the chair like she needed something to hold on to, or she might fall. My son looked pale. "Emily, what's he talking about?" She didn't answer, just kept her eyes on the bottle I'd placed in front of her like it was ticking. I leaned in close, voice low. "You tried to poison me with that exact stuff. Twice. And I've got you on camera." She blinked, quick. That was her tell. "I don't know what he's talking about," she said, forcing a little laugh. "He's confused. He's old. You've said how forgetful he's been." "No," my son interrupted. "I didn't say that." "You said that." Emily spun toward him, her face cracked. First time I saw the panic leak through, I wanted to enjoy it, but I wasn't done yet. The room went quiet. I cleared my plate, calm, polite, then handed the bottle to my son. "Take this to the sheriff," I said. "They'll test it. Then ask to see the footage I sent Carrie." He just stared at it. "Are you serious?" I've never been more serious in my life. Emily sat down, hard, didn't say a word. I could see her brain spinning, trying to calculate the odds. How far I'd gone, what I had, what I didn't. She didn't realize, by the time she started thinking about consequences, I'd already stacked the whole deck. I turned off the dining room lights. Dinner was over, but the game was just getting good. The next morning, they acted like nothing happened. No mention of the dinner, no mention of the bottle. Emily smiled as she poured coffee, same fake smile, but her hands shook. I walked Duke. When I came back, the garage was open. My son stood inside staring at the workbench. "I found the USB, he said. I kept walking. "You hid it in a wrench," he added. "Didn't think you knew how." I turned. "I worked tools longer than you've been alive." He swallowed. "You think she really—" I didn't answer. Didn't need to. I just looked at him like a stranger, then said, "You're sleeping in the bed she made. Hope it's comfortable." That night, I saw her sneaking through the kitchen. I stayed in the hallway, watched through the shadows. She opened the fridge, found a new dish I'd left. Covered, labeled, "Dad's dinner, do not touch." She opened it, smelled it, then dumped it in the trash. Didn't even take a bite. Smart. But too late. I'd already planted the next step. The next day I called her job. Didn't lie, just asked questions. "Hi, I'm trying to confirm if Emily Miller works there." "Oh, not in 6 months." Interesting. I called the insurance company, asked about her credentials. She'd told my son she had a medical background, that she worked in a clinic. Turns out she was an admin assistant for 2 months and got let go. Failed background check, they said. Didn't tell me what for. Didn't need to, because that was enough. I printed the call logs, emails, copies of the poison bottle's purchase receipt. Yes, I found it in the Amazon history. Guess who placed the order? I took it all, wrapped it up nice and clean, put it in a manila folder labeled "For Attorney." Then I left it on the kitchen counter, didn't hide it, didn't lock it up. Let her see it, let her stew in it. The next day, it was gone, of course, so I called the sheriff. "Hey, I left a file with legal evidence in my home." It disappeared. Just want that on record. Deputy took down the note, said they'd follow up. They always say that. But what mattered was the paper trail. She'd tampered with my things, again. That night, I made another dinner, mac and cheese with hot dogs, old school, left 2 bowls out, one for me, one labeled "Dad's Low Sodium." She watched me from the stairs, waited. I left the room, came back 20 minutes later. One bowl was gone. She thought I'd finally slipped, that I'd gone soft again, let my guard down. Cute, because the bowl I labeled was the regular one, the low-sodium dish. Still in the oven, untouched. I set the trap again and again, every night. Same routine. Labeled meals, switched contents, watched. She tampered 3 times. Each time, I had a fresh recording. I saved them all, labeled and backed up, and then I made a new file for the DA. But I wasn't just watching her. I was watching him too. My son, how he looked at her, how he didn't look at me. The guilt was there. You could see it on his shoulders. But he never asked questions, never apologized, just kept breathing. In the same house like it didn't stink. Then came the close call. I got home from a walk and smelled gas. Strong, sharp, not from the stove, from the garage. Water heater vent had been tampered with. Cover unscrewed, I fixed it quickly, quietly, then checked the footage. No one on camera. She'd learned. She was staying off the camera's field of view, so I moved them. 3 new ones, hidden better. Motion sync to my phone, and this time, audio too. Every room, even the baby's. Because if she was desperate now, I needed to be 2 steps ahead. That night, I wrote 3 notes. 1 to Carrie, 1 to my lawyer, and 1 to Emily. Hers just said, "You blinked first." Left it in her sock drawer. Let her find it when I took Duke for his walk. When I came back, she was sitting on the porch. No smile, just staring. I nodded at her. "Nice night," I said. She didn't answer. Didn't have to. Because silence. That's the sound of someone who knows they lost. But I wasn't done yet. Not even close. It started on a Tuesday. Rainy. Cold. The kind of weather where the gutters hiss and nothing feels clean. Perfect for what I had in mind. I came downstairs like usual, poured my coffee, sat in my chair. Emily walked in, saw me there, and blinked like she'd forgotten I still existed. "Morning," she muttered. I didn't answer. She poured herself a cup, turned to leave. "Oh, Emily," I said. She paused. I stood, reached into the drawer, pulled out a manila envelope, dropped it on the counter. "What's this?" "Just a little something I sent to your mother." She paled. "What did you send?" I sipped my coffee. Photos, screenshots, video stills, purchase history, and that voice memo where you called me a walking inheritance check. "You're bluffing." I raised an eyebrow. "Am I?" She opened the envelope. Empty. Of course it was empty, because the real one, already in the mail. Priority delivery. Her mouth moved, but no words came out. By the time my son got home, she was pacing the kitchen. He walked in, soaked from work, holding his lunch cooler. "What's going on?" She spun. "He's trying to ruin us." My son looked at me, then back at her. "How?" "He's sending lies to my family." I just held up my phone, played a clip. Her voice, clear as day. "If we just wait, he'll drop dead. The baby deserves the house, not some old fart with a dog." Dead silence. My son turned white. "Jesus, Emily. It's out of context." She barked. "Really?" "What's the context for that?" She stormed off, slammed the bedroom door so hard the hallway shook. The next day, I had the locks changed. All of them. Garage, front, back, even the shed. Even used the emergency clause in the deed to reclaim sole occupancy. Lawyer approved. My son tried his key that night. It didn't turn. He banged on the door. I opened it, calm, steady. "What the hell, Dad? This is my house. You can't do this." "Actually, I can, and I did." "You're throwing us out." "No, I'm telling you to leave." Emily appeared behind him, holding the baby. "You're insane," she said. I looked at the kid, then back at her. I'd rather be insane than dead. They left, not far, just stayed with a friend. But they were rattled, shaken. They thought they had time. They thought I'd fade. They were wrong. 2 days later, I filed a police report, alleging attempted poisoning, attached the footage, the audio, the timestamps, and the email copies to my niece and attorney. The officer said, "We'll investigate." That's all I needed, not an arrest, not yet. Just the pressure, just the weight of it. Emily called that night. Blocked number. I picked up. "You think you're clever?" "No, I know I am." "You're going to regret this." "No, Emily, you are." Click. Then I called Child Protective Services. reported the tampering, the gas leak, the unsanitary conditions. Didn't lie. Just told them what happened. They said they'd be following up within 48 hours, which meant Emily would be scrambling, which is exactly what I wanted. My son came by again, alone this time. No baby, no Emily. He looked tired, older. "Dad, please, let's talk." I let him in. He sat at the kitchen table, same spot he used to sit when he was 10, eating peanut butter out of the jar. "I didn't know," he said. I said nothing. I didn't want to believe it. But I watched the videos. Still, I said nothing. I don't know what to do. I looked at him finally. "You do know?" He nodded and left. That night, I made my final move. I booked a cleaning crew. Full deep clean. Kitchen, bathrooms, living room. Had them come early. Emily showed up during it. Saw her clothes being boxed, labeled, "Evidence hold." She lost it. "This is illegal." "No," I said. "This is documented." I pointed to the camera blinking in the corner. She turned red, then white, then left. No suitcase, no bags. Just walked away, shaken. But the best part, the real punch. I sent her a final envelope. No name, no return address. Inside, a single photo. Her on camera, sprinkling white powder into my dinner. On the back, in my handwriting, "You blinked." Emily came back at midnight, banging on the door like it was a police raid. "Open up." I didn't move, just sat on the couch, Duke at my feet, watching the security camera feed on my phone. She screamed again. "I know you're in there." Duke growled. I sipped my tea. Then the voice changed, pleading now. "Please, we can fix this." She stood in the cold for 20 minutes, cried for 5, then walked away. I saved the footage. The next morning, my son called. Voicemail. "Dad, CPS came to the apartment. They asked questions about the house, about Emily, about the baby." He paused. Long breath. "What the hell did you do?" I hit delete. Didn't bother replying. Because it wasn't about what I did. It was what they did. Then I sent the final email. To their landlord, attached the clips, the police report, the open investigation notice. I made no accusations, just shared material of concern. 2 hours later, I got a reply. "We are reviewing this tenancy immediately." That night, my son came by again. Didn't knock. Just waited on the porch in the dark like a lost kid after curfew. I opened the door. He stepped back. "Dad, you've made your point." "I'm not done. Come on." "No." He clenched his fists. "You've ruined us." "No," I said. "She did." He stepped forward. "You think this makes you look strong. You look insane." I stared at him. "You let her feed me poison." "She said it was vitamins." "And you believed that?" He hesitated, jaw twitching. "She said you were confused." "You've been forgetful." "Name one thing I forgot." He opened his mouth, closed it again. I nodded. "Exactly." "You don't want to see your grandson again?" he asked. That one hit. Cut deep. I stayed quiet. He saw it, smelled the blood. "And Carrie," he added. "You think she'll take your side after this circus?" I smiled. "She already did." I handed him my phone. There was a voicemail from Carrie. "Uncle, I saw everything. I'm on your side. I love you. You're not alone." My son went pale. Then I handed him a folder. He opened it. His eyes scanned faster and faster, signed witness statements. 2 more neighbors had heard Emily yelling, threatening. The mailman saw her pouring something into a trash can and reported the smell. The gas inspector flagged the tampered vent. "Where'd you get all this?" he whispered. "I stopped trusting you." Silence. He dropped the folder on the porch and walked off. didn't even close the gate behind him. Duke barked once, sharp and low. The next morning, I filed for a restraining order, not just against Emily, against both of them. Included everything, all the footage, all the evidence, all the fear, cited elder abuse, property sabotage, attempted poisoning. I didn't care if the judge knew my name. I wanted him to know hers. It spread fast. Small town. Rumors hit like lightning. People stopped Emily at the store. She got called out online. I didn't say a word. Didn't need to. They did it to themselves. Then came the fire sale. She listed her car online, dirt cheap. He tried to sell his tools. I saw his ad on Craigslist. Full set, barely used, moving soon. I clicked report for fun. That night, I got a message. Blocked number, no name, just 5 words. Please stop. We give up. I took a screenshot, laughed, deleted it. A week later, I saw them on the street, pushing a stroller, plastic bags in hand, no car, no smiles. Emily saw me, looked away. My son just stared, like he didn't recognize me anymore. They thought I'd be dead by now. Instead, they were the ghosts. I was the one still standing, still sharp, still breathing, still here. Later that night, I made dinner. Same cheesy casserole, same dish, same plate. Duke got the first bite, of course. He wagged his tail, ate the whole thing. No growl, no pause. Clean plate, safe meal, my food, my house, my rules, and the chair they tried to throw out. I got it back, reupholstered, clean, right where it belongs. And for the first time in a year, I sat down in peace. They moved out 2 weeks later. No goodbye, no second chances. Just a packed sedan and a toddler in the back seat who didn't know he was the last innocent person in that house. Emily wouldn't look at me. My son did, just once, from the driver's seat, eyes empty, like someone who'd lost more than he could count. I didn't wave, didn't nod, just stood on the porch with Duke and watched the car disappear down the street. The quiet after was strange. No baby crying, no footsteps overhead, no fake apologies. Just the house breathing again, clean, mine. The mailbox still had their name on it, the Millers. I peeled the letters off slowly, stuck my name back on, 1 letter at a time. Black vinyl, bold, a little crooked. Didn't matter, it was right. A week later, my son came back alone. No car, no wife, just him and a backpack. He stood on the porch like a teenager who missed curfew by 5 years. I made mistakes, he said. I opened the door halfway, waited. She's gone. Took the baby, took everything. He paused. I don't have anywhere else. I stared at him, thought of the chair on the curb, the plate in the trash, the smell of gas in my garage, and Duke sleeping in the rain. I'm not your somewhere else, I said. He looked down, swallowed hard. Do you want to see him? The baby? I thought about it. Then I said, not through you. He left without another word, didn't slam the gate, didn't even close it, just drifted back down the sidewalk like a memory I didn't need. The house is quiet now, peaceful. Some days I hear the wind push the old porch swing. Some nights I play records just to hear music that doesn't lie. And every morning I feed Duke first. His tail still wags when I hand him the bowl. It's the same dish she tried to poison. Funny how that stuck. The police never charged her. No arrest. Not enough for court, but enough for me. She won't come near me again. Neither will he. Not without remembering what I did, what I can do. Carrie comes by sometimes, brings groceries, checks in. She sits in my wife's chair, flips through old photo albums, calls me her favorite uncle, which I pretend to hate. She knows better. Last week, she asked me if I missed them. if I'd ever forgive. I just nodded, then said, "You don't have to bury people to be rid of them." The chair they threw out. It's back in the living room, little more worn, little more mine. It creaks sometimes when I sit down, but not in a broken way, just a lived-in way. A reminder that I'm still here, still steady, still the one who knows which bowl is safe. There's just one thing I wonder, one thing I never got an answer to. Did he know the food was poisoned, or did he just not care? I guess I'll never know. But I know this much. The next time someone offers me a casserole with a smile, I'll feed it to the dog first. "You blinked," I said once, but they never saw what I did next. I never blinked back.